the general public really doesn't even honestly know that we exist half the time. A lot of people, I've had parents come in here and tell me that we didn't even know this was even a thing until we're in here now. And we exist and we do a lot of really amazing things. Most people think it's for little babies, but we do, have big babies too that just need a little help bridging the gap to going home with parents. So it's very specialized, and I feel like we're all very passionate about what we do. It's hard to do this job and not love and enjoy what you're doing.
So I'm working the NICU now because I've done some adult care. I wanted to try something different, do something different, and work with patients that I thought would get better more often.
Hi, I'm Shelley. I'm a registered nurse. I've dedicated most of my career to the NICU, that is the neonatal intensive care. We take care of the most vulnerable, precious patients from under 1 pound to 12 pounds. Excellent care is given every day. These infants are the next generation and deserve the best care we can give, and that's what we do every day.
I chose to work in the NICU because it's really the only thing I ever wanted to do. I always had a love for babies, and I had a nurse, an aunt that was a nurse who actually is the one who told me about the NICU and what people did in the NICU. And so really from there I was hooked. So I can remember probably since like the 3rd grade, the NICU was where I wanted to be. So in nursing school, that's all I really cared about. And luckily I was able to get a job as a nurse as a new grad in the NICU.
So I'm Dr. Brian Costner. I have been a neonatologist here at St. Thomas Midtown. This is in my 13th year now. I decided to go into neonatology pretty early on in my medical career. I was kind of imprinted because after my first year of medical school, I did a summer research program up in Boston. And it just happened to be in neonatology. I'd never really had much exposure to it at that point before, but I went up there and did the research, and what I found when I was up there is that more than the research side of it, I actually enjoyed being in the NICU more than the lab. So I found myself going in there a lot, kind of every day, and just looking at the babies and going on rounds and seeing, how they were cared for and managed. And it just really made an impression on me because I had never really seen anything like that before. I guess the things that really kind of struck me about it were the amount of detail that went into it and the meticulousness and how small some of the babies were, but really that you were working with just pure potential at that point. You had a clean slate of a brand new baby that you could grow and develop into a healthier, bigger baby, and by and large, most of them had really good outcomes, which was a really positive thing for choosing a field to go into. And that was really, it still is the most rewarding thing for me about it, is actually when I get to send babies home with their families, because that to me just kind of completes that journey from start to finish. And I really do get a deep sense of satisfaction from sending babies home with their families when they're healthy and ready to go.
My name is Donna. I've been here at St. Thomas for 15 years. The most rewarding part of my job would be seeing little miracles come in and going home with its parents.
The most rewarding part of being a NICU nurse is first off going on the deliveries and the intensity and teamwork that's involved in delivering the tiny babies. And then hearing the family story and being able to walk through this journey with them. It's obviously a very vulnerable time, so being able to reassure them on the tough days and celebrate every milestone with them is just a joy and something that sticks with you for a really long time. And just being able to educate them and make them feel more important in the baby's care, and being able to take the baby home and be confident and fulfill their role of being mom and dad and just being able to watch the baby grow from the NICU and beyond.
Hi, my name's Sarah. I've worked in the NICU for 4 years. The most rewarding part of my job is going on this journey with these amazing babies and parents and watching them grow up into the strong humans we know they can be.
I started in the NICU a little over 19 years ago, straight out of nursing school. I originally wanted to do labor and delivery, and my manager at the time had me interview for this position. So 19 plus years later, here I am, still working in the NICU, have not left, loved every minute of it. And I would say I love working here, and I've continued with this profession because it's such a rewarding place to be. You get to help these families with their baby while they're in here and help the babies get healthy, educate the parents, help the bonding, and eventually you get to see that baby grow from maybe even just 1 pound to 4+ pounds and get to go home as a family unit.
I've been in the NICU now for almost 2 years. I chose to be a NICU nurse because this is such a special population to work with, and I get to witness miracles every day.
The most rewarding part of my job is being there for families and the babies during a difficult time in their lives, helping them and supporting them through their stay.
You know, I was pretty hesitant to come in the NICU in the first place. I worked in different areas of the hospital, but I felt like I needed to have a calling to come in here, and I haven't left. It's a very rewarding place to work, to see these babies grow, and you form bonds with the families and get to know them. And I recently left the NICU and stayed home for about 4 years and then came back, and I've missed it. And I've been a nurse almost 20 years now.
I've been a nurse for 12 years here in the NICU, and one of the major medical advancements we've made here is incorporating kangaroo care, and I feel like it's great because it's such a simple thing that we can do. It makes such a big difference in our baby's developmental care, mom's milk production, and overall health of the baby.
What's your favorite thing about working in the NICU?
The babies,
What about the babies?
they're precious.
I'm Jeff. I've been in the NICU 17 years, and I picked it because the little guys are really cute. They're a lot of fun to play with, and I like the parents. And that's all I know. You know, I like doing that, and I needed a break from adults, so now I decided to stay. So that's the best part, enjoying the little kids, and I get to see them when they come back and they're 4 and 5 years old, and they're running around, and you can talk to them, and that's pretty fabulous.
Well, I've been here 44 years, and to me, the biggest changes are maybe a multiple, like a group of changes, and that was with CuraSurf and high flow. Not to mention mothers who got ultrasounds. When I first came here, nobody got ultrasounds. No, that was not part of prenatal care, so you had babies born with hydrocephaly. They would be a failure to progress, and you had a baby come out with a really big head who needed a shunt. You would have gastroschisis, you would have conjoined twins, and you never knew it. Everything was a surprise. So prenatal care, but also for the babies, infection rate, respiratory wise, I think CuraSurf, and we called it ExoSurf, Cervanta, whatever, but now it's Cervanta. I think combination of that plus high flow nasal cannula, getting the babies extubated early, cut down on the infections and the long-term respiratory problems. So I think it's a combination of things, but the ultrasounds are really nice. It's nice to know what you're going to get.
I'd say my favorite thing about being a NICU nurse is kangaroo care. I love helping put these babies on mom's chest for the first time. Maybe she's waited a month before holding her baby, and she's just gotten to hold hands and stuff through the isolate, but to help facilitate that hold for the first time, or being on delivery and the first time she sees her baby and put the baby to the chest is one of my favorite things. Of course, I love lactation. I've been a NICU nurse for 11 years and started doing lactation, and I love helping that mom reach her goals of whether it be to breastfeed or just whatever her goals are to help her get there.
All right, Rachel, when we first started in the NICU 36 years ago, when I first started, you weren't here yet. We didn't even have oximeters back in those days. We just had to look at the babies to see what color they were. And the first oximeters came along probably around 1986 to 88, somewhere in there, that we used in this NICU. And we had one oximeter that we would share with babies. It had a permanent probe, and it also was not very accurate. The early oximeters we couldn't count on. Actually, the first oximeter I ever saw was a fiber optic C-clamp oximeter on a crash cart that you couldn't even portably carry between patients. So they were pretty primitive back in those days. But after a few years, they improved those oximeters, and we've come to depend on them for all our baby care. But that was not the way it was in the early time period that I was in the NICU. So that's a great improvement from the days that we started in my career.
One of the most rewarding parts of my job is definitely is when you have a baby that's maybe not doing well, that everybody's worried about, but then we all can work together as a group and watch that baby get better and get closer to going home. And it's just so rewarding leading up to that night of rooming in. The excitement is not just for the parents, but for the nurses as well, because we get to share that with them, and it really makes you feel like you did a good job and that your job was really worth it, because you really were able to focus on this person, because it is a tiny person, but focus on this person from the very beginning and kind of almost like boost them and reassure them that you can do it. And then it takes a village, and the village gets together and gets that baby together and get it out the door. And what's better than that?
The most difficult thing about my job of being a NICU nurse, I feel like that's a loaded question, because a lot of folks look at this subspecialty as something pretty intense, which it is, and very hard to do. And I feel like it's easy for me because it's I'm just so meant to be here to do this. However, hard days are when our babies don't do well and don't make it. But there's so many rewarding days, it just trumps all of it. So I can't really say that. And sometimes obviously the pressure of just trying to get the intensity of the situation and just trying to be calm in the middle of a storm can be very hard, very pressing and trying, but you just get it done. You just have to push through because that baby needs you. And it's just something we have to do.
Hi, I'm Sue, and I've worked on and off in the NICU for 30 years. I initially didn't want to work in the NICU. I wanted to do labor and delivery, but there wasn't a job available in labor and delivery, and they said, hey, why don't we put you in the NICU? And I said, okay. So here I am, 30 years later, and I love this job. I've left the NICU twice for a short period of time, and I've come back, and currently I've been in this NICU at St. Thomas Midtown for 20 years.
I'm Lori Lucking. I'm the lead occupational therapist for the neonatal therapy team here at St. Thomas. And I started in the NICU about 12 years ago. And I really enjoy my time in the NICU because I like being a part of that connection between the infant and the parents and strengthening that bond between the two.
What?
Oh, hi,
is
girls.
the reason why you chose NICU as your profession?
Well, yeah. I mean, I wanted to be a nurse a long time ago, and I thought I would do OB. And then in high school, my science professor, sociology teacher, had a preemie. He was like, Sherry, I really think you need to check this specialty out. I think this might be your niche. And I was like, but it's in your project? And I said, sure, I'll go check it out. I joined my best friend, and I walked in, and I said, this is it, done. The rest is history. Lots of years later.
One of the most wonderful medical advancements that I have experienced while I've been in the NICU is the draft shuttle.
Yes.
We have our draft beds, of course. We take them on deliveries, but the draft shuttle is a battery pack that allows the bed to stay warm. It allows us to monitor the baby, give respiratory support, as well as suction. It's basically a small NICU on wheels.
Yeah.
And
keep it with us.
we bring the baby back in the NICU. There's no need to move the baby to another bed.
Which can actually be very traumatizing for a baby.
It's been a wonderful new piece of equipment in our NICU.
The built-in humidity and the scale in it, it's just so much better for baby.
Yeah.
Speaking of babies, I think that's my
One of the greatest advancements I experienced was this actual replacing of the surfactants. The surfactant replacement therapy coupled with the high flow nasal cannulas just brought babies so much better years of living. And now with the Giraffe shuttle and carrying everything back there with us, we can actually give the surfactant replacement right in the delivery room. It's amazing. We're able to lean the oxygen down, the pressure's down. Hardly ever have any pneumothoraces anymore.
Right.
It's been phenomenal.
Yeah.
I'm currently on orientation in the NICU, but the reason I wanted to come work here is because one nurse school I knew I didn't want to for sure, and then I precepted one good time on a unit, and I was like, yep, nope, I was wrong. This is it for me for sure. And so every chance I've had since then, I've tried to get some experience in the NICU, and I finally have a job here. So I'm very excited and having an absolute great time learning and taking care of these little babies.
So my very first hospital that I worked in Memphis, we had bear cub ventilators, and so everything was manual. So you had to get down and look and change your PIP and your pressure all at one time. There were no manual breath buttons or anything like that. And we also, the first unit I worked in, we didn't have respiratory therapists, so we changed all of our ventilator tubing.
So medical advancements in NICU nursing, I've been doing this for over 20 years, 24, 25 years now. It's a long time, but we're not going to talk about my age on that. However, what my biggest probably medical advance in this subspecialty, and there have been many because the subspecialty is not that old and compared to the big picture of medicine, and I think that's important to say, is the giraffe bed more or less. It's probably one of the biggest medical advances we have done for micro preemies in this subspecialty. When I first started out, we were using radiant warmers, which were open beds, and literally saran wrapping beds, truly, and blowing humidity in. Currently, we have a bed that does everything, including weighs the baby, blows in humidity, obviously it tells us when the baby needs attention. So I would say that's probably our biggest advancements outside of a common ventilator, which the ventilators, as we can see, have advanced nicely. However, they still have their basics in there, but the beds have really taken it to the next level for taking care of a very, very small baby.
Helen, September is NICU Awareness Month. You've worked in the NICU a long time, and we are kind of that secret place behind closed doors that people don't know about until they need us. What do you have to say about that?
I do feel like we are the trauma unit on the happy floor, and I'm so sad when people have to meet us. I'm glad we're here for them, but it's extremely difficult. You're pregnant, you have a plan of what's going to happen, and it gets wrecked. You maybe have an early baby or something happened and you have a term baby that's having trouble. We are here to support the baby and the family. Bonding can be very difficult when you're in the NICU. And we do have containment holds we can teach families, and we also do skin to skin when baby is able to tolerate that. Baby loves it, it's good for the family, and it's really good for bonding. There's some other tools, the breastfeeding and talking to the baby, reading him stories. There's all kinds of care that we can encourage the parents to do in this unexpected time of having a baby, where you think, oh, I'm going to have a baby, everything's going to be great, and then it isn't. And
it's very traumatizing.
Very traumatizing.
And I'm glad that we're here and we have all those